There we go.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Pancake Sex Book Club. God, that is a weird title to say out loud. You guys
You're
picked
welcome.
it. So it's rookie week to actually host the whole thing. So here's hoping I don't completely fall on my ass. But I will say I did manage to achieve my secret mission of injecting some chaos into this because everybody fucking hates my book pick. Is what I'm understanding. So
That's not
mission
far off.
accomplished.
That's
Spoiler
not-
alert!
Not too far off.
Let's me versus the entire internet, because I will fight you. I will die on this hill. I will die on this hill.
Really?
So
This is the hill you want to die on?
Yeah, you want
Because-
to die on the hill for this book?
because I think we're approaching it from different perspectives, but I don't know yet. So let's just dive right in. So this was fucking heavy. I
didn't
You want to
introduce
say
us.
the name of the book?
Yeah, say the name of the book, introduce us.
Yes.
All that stuff.
Look, you guys didn't give me a script. I'm winging it here. Okay. Anyway, like, where is the script? I'm looking at the thing. This is goddamn
script.
amateur hour.
We all
Okay.
know.
I've done issue
Really
of.
simple. You say what book we're talking about.
All right,
Then you
I can
go
answer
down the
that.
line and say, this is so-and-so, say hi. They say hi.
Okay.
Just like on Can't Talk when they go, say your name.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not okay. So I'll at least say this is Silent Scream: a D.I. Kimstone mystery. It is by Angela Marsons, and I get to talk about it now and fight about it with. Let's start with Z.
Hello. Is that me?
No,
Hello.
it's Izzy.
Oh,
No, I said
hi.
Izzy. Sorry, my
You're fine.
mic
I was
is.
like, I thought I heard Izzy, but I wasn't sure, and I was
Yeah,
like,
no,
you said is.
even-
I was like, wait, it's me or it's not?
This is Izzy who kind of rounded us all up for this.
This book was special. I did not finish this book.
Special.
I'm
That says something.
54% through.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Girl.
I think I have a pretty solid. This is all in a day, so I did good for how clunky this thing was.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah, it was different, and I'm
Oh.
not anti-murder mysteries. I read like really like the Anita Blake series is super gory and crazy, and I read those, but I don't know, they're smoother than this for me, I guess. I don't know.
So.
I like right now 2 stars. Like it's my feeling, not knowing how it ends. I have my speculations. I'm curious to see what you guys
Yeah,
talk
I definitely want to talk about like the red herrings and twists. So we'll see.
What twists?
There were red herrings.
Yeah, right? Like, what?
Hey. Well, I think
I know what's gonna happen from
Wait, the first page. Come on.
Yeah, it's
I
really
don't know. Well, because I think
straight up
that
telegraphed.
I went into it like trying to game the book, and I outgamed myself. So that might be part of it. But I'll move on to the next one. Amelia, hello.
Hello.
So first thoughts.
Well, I
Like, don't feel like you have to be nice because I get bullshit thrown at me constantly. So please.
So
my
I like psychological thriller, murder mystery type novels. I grew up reading Sue Grafton and Mary Higgins Clark, and I even read those stupid cat ones that are really, really terrible. Like I read a fuck ton of those books when I was a kid. I called them bathtub books because you could finish one in the bathtub, start to finish. So it's like the cat solved the mysteries in those books. Like I'm not even kidding.
Are you talking about
So-
the cats with the wings? Like
No,
I don't
it's
know
called-
of a cat
they're-
murder
they're-
mystery book.
The author is Lillian Jackson Braun, and the author the books are literally called the Cat Who books. And this dude has like 2 Siamese cats, and they're like super genius cats, and they solve the mysteries. Anyway, it's really bad. It's really bad. Like
But better
when I
than
was
this.
13, it was great.
Oh, well, you're 13. That's fucking.
Yeah.
Fucking
It was great when I was 13. I
I
loved
mean,
it.
I loved the cats
Yeah.
with the wings when I was a kid, so
But
I
just don't know
liked
what
you.
they
I grew up on all this shit. This is how I grew up, right? Like Murder, She Wrote and the Masterpiece Mystery. This book was badly written. I think was my biggest complaint. The plot was fine. It was very standard. I mean, it's pretty much watching a long episode of British Law and Order.
Yeah.
But it was just poorly written. You could not track who the characters were easily. You could not track like she would just start talking about the characters like you already knew. So was this the first one in the series?
Yeah, the first one in the series, yes.
So that's because I was like, maybe what happened is I'm picking it up halfway through the series, and that's why like I'm supposed to know this dude has problems with his wife, and I'm supposed to understand what these problems are, and I'm supposed to understand why this detective is suddenly mad at this other person. Like, I don't get why they're having a fight now. Like, it just did not. She would just drop you into the middle of stuff, and it didn't make sense to me, and it was really frustrating. And I would be like, did I miss something? And go back, and no, I didn't miss anything. And it was just really, it was a fine story, but it was not the best writing I've ever encountered.
Yeah, I kept getting confused that for a long time I didn't realize that Dawson and Bryant were two people.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I've been constantly like, wait, who's this?
Yeah.
What did they do?
Yeah,
wait, no.
It was like she really did not do any backstory, which a lot of times I appreciate because I like stuff that moves very fast, but this was so not written around what was going on that it was like, I have no idea what's going on. I have no idea who any of these people are, nor do I really care who these people are. And I never was made to care who these people were at all until like 2/3 of the way through the book, maybe. Then I was like, okay, now I think I know who, like her the guy that she hangs out with a lot and is like her friend.
Brian.
I don't even know names.
Brian.
Like that guy I got a handle on okay. Eventually, like when he saves the puppy, that was like a nice like character moment, right? And then the supervisor guy, kind of. But everybody else is just like a 2-line thing, and I'm supposed to know who they are when she brings them up again, and I'm like, I have no idea who that is. Nor do I. Anyway, so decent story, concept, very basic but fine for this genre, but I found it very badly written.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Open the goddamn floodgates and let me drink deep of your hatred.
I mean, if I could give this no stars, I would give it no stars.
Oh,
Really? Like Outlander level?
I would. It was at least that Highlander terrible Scottish love book that we read was funny.
Yeah, it was.
Unintentionally. This, I was just mad the whole way through from start to finish. I figured out like who the murderer was.
Really? Because they didn't even introduce his ass until later.
Like the twin thing, I was like, oh, they're not gonna be. They're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Like, yeah. I was just mad the whole way through. Also, female and male is a noun. Or it's not a noun. It's adjective. Stop. Just stop. Just stop. Just stop.
The editor's coming out.
Is
She's
it
like,
an
no.
England thing, though? Is it like British writing versus American writing?
Honestly, it's also just like a police thing. Like, it is honestly like a procedural
But the author's
issue.
not a police, so...
Yeah, but...
Not a police.
That's not a police, you guys.
If you would have listened to me finish, I said police officer.
I know, but it was funnier to think that you said it's not a police. So I'm not a police either, but I will say about that is one of the things that I can see driving you fucking nuts. But it's like when you're doing this kind of hyper procedural thing, you're not supposed to write like girl or boy or man, woman. You're supposed to just strictly identify by this.
She did. She would go
depending
back and
on
forth.
the contents.
No, she would in the crime part. She would go back and forth between referring to people as male, female, and man, woman.
I thought
it was consistent.
See, I always noticed it in the context of like, all right, who is talking, who is doing the talking? Is it the like omniscient narrator talking, or is it like somebody actually saying something, or is it like, oh, we're finally putting an identity on the thing, on the person we have.
I just checked to be sure she's British. She's British.
Yes.
Oh, it's definitely
British. I was worried for a minute. I was like, what if this isn't a British
actual British person?
I was gonna be
no,
like,
it is. And the book is very clearly not American.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's also like she's also apparently from the place that she's like setting this into.
Okay.
So the hated accent is coming from a person who actually like lives with the accent. So like.
But I didn't feel like
Dove.
she over accented. To me, I didn't feel like she over accented. Not
the
like the
Govs
Highland.
drove me nuts.
Yeah.
Like,
I was like, stop.
It's a thing.
I could ignore that
That
because
doesn't mean
of
it's a good thing.
the thing that kept throwing me out was marm.
Yes.
But that, like, I know that's a British thing, so I just had to, like, speed past it because it kept catching me up. Marm instead of ma'am.
Yeah.
Like, marm. I was like, what? But, like, that I could just
the
see.
first few times I
That's
was
a
like,
cultural
wait.
thing.
Yeah, I had to phonetically sound that out. I'm like, what the fuck? Oh, okay, there we go.
Yeah.
So once I phonetically sounded it out, sounding like a complete dumbass alone in my room, I finally got that. Yeah. So, okay, you know what? I'm going to come back in because I thought this was a very good example of the kind of like pseudo-procedural, it's not like the murder mysteries I read, because I never read like the Mary Higgins Clark. I don't even know who Mary Higgins Clark is. When I read murder mysteries, it was always like really old-timey ones. Like I would read Agatha Christie, Rex Stout, Raymond Chandler, that kind of thing, like the really old ones. So this whole kind of like murder mystery sort of passed me by at some point. So this was kind of a very new thing for me, and it did have a very airporty feel. But once you kind of know what you're in for, I think like you can kind of take the genre ride. And I was like, this is going to have no surprises, even though I was like, all right, I did do the Agatha. Have you guys ever heard of the Agatha Christie principle?
Mm-mm.
It's the idea that, in a lot of those like old school murder mysteries, the murderer is the first character that you meet who is not immediately killed.
Interesting.
So, and this book actually follows the Agatha Christie principle. But I tricked myself into thinking that it didn't, because I thought the twins were just another red herring thing. I was like, oh, so this isn't really following that genre. Okay. So I was trying to get too tropey with it, but it was using different tropes. And I thought it did a good job with the tropes. It was a little stretched out, little stretched out. I think the book definitely could have been trimmer, but I think it achieved what it wanted to achieve, which was that kind of Law and Order procedural feel, with like a lot of emphasis on kind of the setting. But also, I do want to come back at you with a little bit of what Amelia said, with the whole like, oh, we're just like expected to know who all these characters are. Like we get like 2 pieces of information about them, and then go. I will take you back to the first book that I read with you guys, Kiss of Steel, where I was like, what the fuck is a blue blood? What is all of this? What is this? Why? Yeah. Why do I know this? So, like, I'm guessing what we're saying is, like, it's okay sometimes, or, like, there's a certain way to do it where they can just, like, chuck you into the pool and go fucking swim.
I think for me anyway, there's the difference between introducing terms that I don't know yet, because that's okay, because I'll know that I can pick those up, and being a longtime sci-fi reader, that doesn't bother me as much as, like, so all of a sudden she's like, what's up with you and your wife? And then they don't expound on that topic at all, and then the next time it comes up, it's like, again, not expounded upon in any way that makes any sense. So, like, I still don't know what's up with that dude and his wife at the end of the book. Like, I have no idea.
Someone wants to know what's going on.
At the same time, it would have been a huge detour. Like, if she'd gone any deeper... Like,
no,
it would have been like, why the fuck are we talking about this?
It could have been.
Why were we talking about it?
If it's not important, then don't bring it up at all.
Right.
Like, if you're not going to give us at least 2 sentences about he's having problems with his wife because he cheated on her, or she cheated on him.
That would have been good!
Or he's just an asshole in general. Fine. But, like, don't say, how are things going with your wife, and him shrug, and then we never hear about it.
I think they did, actually. No, they did.
Was cheating implied at some point.
Cheating was implied, but it was never stated.
But they never really said, like, it was never important to the story, and it wasn't even important in the course of the character development. It was just sort of thrown in there, like, kind of wedged in there, like, look, he's a person for just a minute, but now not again. Like, it was a very tell not show, I think.
Oh, yeah. Especially when you're trying to move that fast with character introductions, because she was like, let me get these 4 people onto the board so you can kind of follow them.
Right, but she never really gave me anything else either later. So, to me, if it's so inconsequential, then just leave it out. But bring it up in another book where it makes more sense to explore that just a little. Like I said, the thing with the other dude where he rescued the puppy and took the puppies home and all that stuff, that was like, okay, now I feel like I have a semi-picture of who this guy is.
Right,
that was plenty.
Sweet, kind of little family man guy.
Yeah, he was really
good. We also spend more time with him, too.
Stacy, like, who are those people? Why
she was the computer person.
Right,
the computer person who hangs out in the back.
That she does, that is not who she is.
They introduce like a couple little things and then it moves forward. I will counter with, have you ever watched really early Law and Order?
Yeah, I've watched every Law and Order.
I know, right? Rhetorical question for you, but remember, like, we only, like, when we're first, like, that first episode, all we learn is, or like a character's first episode, like, this is Lenny Briscoe. He is sarcastic and old. This is Green. He is young and less sarcastic. He's the cool one.
Yeah,
this
but
is,
Law and Order
this
doesn't
is,
matter than what's her Angela
because
Martin.
Yeah, and also it doesn't matter. In a TV genre, you can show me things visually that helps me put the story together in a way that in books, this isn't even one episode. This is kind of like an ongoing arc idea. Like if you want to compare, this would be the length of like 5 Law and Order episodes or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so by the 5th episode, I should have some idea beyond the base. Like the first one, yeah, but some idea as we're going forward. And it doesn't have to be a lot. It just felt like it was people were very interchangeable. Actually, the Stacy one didn't bother me as much because she didn't get any backstory. She was she's good at computers. So she actually bothered me way less.
And plays World of Warcraft. Those are like her 2 character traits.
And gets teased about it.
Right, like what I want to know is why was Dawson in the doghouse with Kim? Like why is she being such a dick to him?
Exactly, that was never explained.
Yeah,
maybe you find out in the next book.
I will not.
Because there are... No, because that's the thing, and I think the idea is like, I think the other 2 books were like already out, and this is a fairly recently published book, so this was like set to be a series from the beginning, and I really do think it's going for that Law and Order vibe of like, all right, here are your detective characters, they have 3 character traits, this is how you kind of cast them from there. So
the dog, this guy likes
none of us are very used to reading as well, for sure. At least the 3 of us that don't like it. In a way, like we're not used to quite as clunky of a detective murder mystery.
Oh, I am. I have read exclusively clunky ones.
Yeah, well, I mean, I feel like you are, but like the rest of us, I think maybe are like that's part of our issues. We're like, this is different than what we're used to.
Maybe. Like I said, I think it's trying to do something actively different than what I actually expected. Like I expected it to be like that kind of like old-timey British murder mystery.
What did you see
as to be like fairly sterile? It was not at all as sterile as like the really old. Because one of the criticisms you can make about really old murder mysteries is that they're very sterile. Like,
no, but this was straight up like, I mean, Sue Grafton, V.I. Wachowski,
Mary Higgins Clark,
like this was really well fit within that genre, absolutely.
Yeah. She did not break any molds there.
No, I don't think so.
Well, no, because I just
different from like
I didn't know
Agatha Christie.
Yeah, I did not realize that was a secondary mold. Like, I'm not saying this is a like true genre definer. I'm just saying it's different than what I expected. I might. I
like J.D. Robb.
I don't usually read books like this. Like, I don't read a lot of like that kind of airport fiction. Like, where I'm just like, take me through like one series of events with multiple things, like introducing a bunch of characters that are going to be like recurring characters. I very rarely read those things. So this was a little different for me. It was different than what I expected. I expected something much more sterile. I expected something shorter. I really did think that it was going to be shorter and that it wasn't going to kind of do like 3 or 4 different like M. Night Shyamalan do the twists.
I think
because even if you could see it coming, it's like, all right, this insert twist here. So
for sure.
I will say I did fall for the initial red herring because I didn't think this book was going to try and twist. Because Law and Order never really twists. And that's what I was going with. I thought it was going to be just like, all right, maybe the Agatha Christie principle follows. All right, so first person you meet, that's going to be the murderer. Oh wait, but there's like a secondary murder. All right, I think I've got that one. Law and Order doesn't twist, so why would this? It did twist.
Yeah. I thought my misstep was I thought for sure the chick's dad was going to be a bad guy in the end.
Yeah. That was my big thing. I was like,
disappointed when he wasn't. I was like, all right, he's just a saint, whatever.
Yeah, he's just a great dude.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was absolutely positive that he was like the original, like the one for the bodies in the ground. I thought he
they
was
harassed his kid. La.
Yeah. I was like, and it's like, and like she can't talk, so she can't say like my dad's fucking crazy. Like,
right.
So I was like, oh, okay, I got this.
I never thought he was. I mean, so far, I just did the part where you meet him, and I had no feeling that he was the bad guy.
It kind of comes a little later.
It comes in later, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I just was like, oh, he just seems like a dude trying to care for his kid.
Yeah.
That's like.
But they like they feed you like other things like that would like intentionally, and it turns out to be a setup in the context of the book. Like, oh, it was set up by
I will
the real
say
killer.
I mean, you guys can spoil it. I don't care. right now where I'm at, the MP guy is who I think looks definitely suspicious, and then the twins are suspicious.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
So
they're twins. How would they not be suspicious?
I know, right?
That's another fantastic
They're
trope.
so suspicious.
What I want is a book just on Nicola, not written by this lady, but like just
Yes, me too.
Just having fun,
just
you know.
her, yeah, going on
It was such
adventures
a-
with her split
I have to
personality.
say, her twist is the twist my husband hates more than any other twist
Yeah.
on the face of the planet. Like, anytime a movie's going that way, he's like,
really
I'm out.
I really didn't think that the author was going to go there. I was like, no. No.
He looks so lost.
This is exactly bonkers enough that I'm back on board.
I thought I could finish this in a day. I was like, this isn't that
No,
long.
it
I
was
can
too
finish
long.
this before the... No, I could have.
It was, oh wow.
It's too
Faster
clunky.
reader than
It's
I am.
just
the
too
problem.
clunky. I kept putting it down as well.
Like,
wrote
I can
couple
read a
things
book
this
this
weekend,
length
but
in a
yeah.
day. Like,
Shit,
no
I can-
problem, normally. But I was just, nope.
Yeah, no, I can see. I definitely spaced this out over a couple days because I'm a slow reader to begin with, like, because I'm trying to retain absolutely goddamn everything, and that was hard in this one. So maybe that definitely kind of helped me keep everybody straight, because this did have a Dostoevskian level of too many fucking characters.
Agreed.
I mean,
But again,
the questions?
that's a Law and Order. Oh yeah, I mean, yeah.
wait, can I
If you
say
want,
one thing?
I mean,
though?
we could just keep rambling.
I want to say one positive thing about
yeah,
the book.
okay. Amelia, go. Say something
One
nice.
thing that I was actually really impressed with was the way that the main character, Kim, interacted with the disabled daughter.
Yes.
That was incredibly cool the entire time, very well handled, and not common in fiction like this. And so that, like, for that tiny piece, 5 stars.
Yeah,
Like,
I agree.
really-
That part
agree
I
with
was
you
very
there.
happy with.
I
Yeah.
think there's actually a second half to that because, okay, I think this one was really good about physical disability and physical illness and physical limitation. Mental illness, on the other hand,
I disagree.
really not great
I will
about
tell you why
those.
when we get to that question.
Oh, okay.
Excellent.
I
Um,
hated Lucy. I'll tell you why.
okay. So, at the very least, I will. So my first question was not a question. I'll answer it anyway. So, like, you guys okay? Or you like? I was not expecting this, but you know, this is kind of. So we're not okay, but our anger will get us through. So that's okay.
Well, and it wasn't because of the violence.
No, and I
No,
don't normally like violence. Normally, I know about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it did not trigger me at all, which I was expecting that to be like, I can't read this book anymore.
I was
I'm
like,
out.
fuck, because I had no idea. I didn't read any preview pages. I wanted to come in cold, just like I had been for the rest of them.
and
So.
same here, but when I read that first chapter, I was like, oh no, they're killing children. Oh god,
Yeah,
this is
oh
not going to be
God.
okay for me. But
And
it
then he
was-
immediately moves into like a straight up murder where she pees herself. I was like, oh fuck. Oh
Right, and I was
no.
like, I don't think I'm going to be okay, but I was because it was not well written.
Okay. Alright, so if it had been written to your standard, it would have been like, you would have still noped out anyways.
I would have known. I wouldn't have finished
had
this book.
no hope for you. Okay. Alright, well let's actually
Alright.
the next question that I wrote out because God help me if I can't like write a fucking book review, book discussion little guide for every goddamn book we do. So, as I said, this one was not one of those like old-timey sterile things, and I like the closest thing to like a modern version of the murder mystery was goddamn Janet Ivanovich, One for the Money that I read, and that was another one where it was like sort of removed. Death is just like a plot point that happens like over there. We talk about it, but it happens off screen. Like, do you think that this was over the top in terms of trying to keep it real, or was it like exactly real enough to make it like a non-desensitized?
It didn't
like I
bother me,
said-
but I like Stephen King. So
Yeah, like I didn't think it was like some of the Anita Blake ones that I've read have been like way more graphic and really, I mean, obviously not as real because they're like the paranormal twist in it, but they're very graphic in description for some of the death stuff, and it's disgusting. And I've like had to put the book down.
I never
And
read it,
back-
so.
And that's normally what I have to do with anything. I'll say that the prince losing his heel or his toes
Oh,
That
yeah.
was far
I
more
was like-
graphic than people dying in this book.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
oddly. I don't know. It just didn't bother me too much. I mean, I was
Okay.
sad because it was kids, but
Yeah.
I was just like, eh.
But like
This isn't
barely.
It was
Yeah.
kids
I was
and
like,
shitty adults.
Right.
I mean, I know the adults. I just mean like the kid stuff made me more sad
Yeah.
than the adults because
Oh,
I
yeah,
felt like
absolutely.
the adults were these scummy people that kind of deserved to
Well,
die.
because it was also written in that that creepy ass like first person like grossness.
Mhm.
So like that made it a little more like uncomfortable. But yeah, so I'm used to there being like a huge divorce from murder mysteries, and that's one of the big criticisms that I see about mystery novels is that they're like human life is just a plot point, and it's very like sterile and vanilla. But this one at least like kept it real. But now that I know there's a whole world of murder mysteries that are like, yeah, and then he cut the throat with the.
Oh yeah,
I've been filing my nails with a letter opener.
lots of those.
So, yeah. So
I kind
maybe
of felt like only the bad people died. Like nobody who died
so
had
far I
any
felt
kind
like
of
everyone
redeeming
dying is
characteristic.
kind of deserves it.
well, with the exception of the kids.
I mean, but even then, they're like,
I mean,
no, they were really bad kids, though, you guys. They did bad things, and they were in
But
a
it's
home,
okay.
so they were bad. So it doesn't matter.
See,
about that.
I thought the book was trying to say exactly the opposite of that. I thought the
I
book
think
was
it
like
was trying to hammer
bending
you over
over
the head with that,
backwards.
but that's not the actual impression that I was taken away.
Okay.
From that.
So I was like, the book was bending over backwards to be like, nah, it's not necessarily. There's not all foster kids.
Yes,
But
it
in
was.
saying not all foster kids, I feel like the message that it was actually sending was yes, all foster kids.
But these ones,
Wow.
Oh, boy.
not so good.
Well, speaking of not alls, so yeah, not all women
Oh.
are. So at first, when I first read about like the motorcycle, I'm like, oh god, let me guess, she's not like those other girls.
Mm-hmm.
And like there were parts like, but I'm not sure if that was supposed to make her like I don't think we were supposed to like the fact that she was not like other girls. I thought the author was going for a mild asshole protagonist. Going
No,
for
she was
is one
definitely
thing.
going for an asshole like character, detective. Like,
Yes.
I mean, she was just basically going for that trope of like, look at me, I'm this hardened
Yeah.
asshole
The
detective.
anti-hero.
Yeah. God, I did not like her.
Yeah. I was like, okay, this is not the most loathsome protagonist I've read because
No, but she was just
like,
good.
okay, all right, honey, I get it.
But
and
she's
like the
beautiful, so it doesn't matter, guys. It doesn't
Well,
matter.
she was like
But she's
trying
trying
really hard to
everything
be
not
pissy.
be everything
Like-
she is.
Yeah. Like she was just to me, she was trying
yeah.
too hard to be
Yeah.
like pissy and cranky.
Yeah, because
But then,
like
like-
everything else around her is like her only real like flaw to the outside world is that she works too hard.
Right.
Like that's okay, and that's
Like,
obnoxious. But
How like unbelievable is it that somebody that unlikable is going to have a whole crew full of people who are super loyal to her and believe in everything she does? 'Cause
hey,
if I worked for someone like that, I'd be like, fuck you.
Yeah.
it's all about results, man. They believe in the results she gets, and honestly,
But they,
I've
like,
seen
love
that.
her.
I've seen that work dynamic. I've seen it.
Sometimes. Yeah. I don't know.
She was overly tragic for me.
Yeah, like
It was like-
It gets worse. Lee.
I bet.
More tragic.
Yeah.
Because it's like first you're like, okay, she was a foster kid. You find out her brother was
Oh, she got dead
murdered.
brother, dead twin brother,
Dead twin brother.
dead twin brother with a heroin addict mom. It's like, okay, you could have
Who
stopped
has
at
like
one of those
schizophrenia or
things.
something too.
Yeah, paranoid schizophrenia. That's generally not how paranoid schizophrenia works.
But then they
Yeah.
give you the full backstory and the backstory on some
like-
of her foster
And
parents.
then the backstory on the
Yes.
foster parents who are
Like-
gonna die, and it's just like,
and they had 2
Christ,
days
you were
until
the most
retirement.
tragic person to ever exist. in this
The foster parent story. I was like, the ending of that was much. It was much. It was like,
It was too
oh,
much.
you're gonna tell me they only had 2 days before retirement too? Like,
Right?
come on, man. Like, you could have her backstory would have been narratively sufficiently tragic with like one of the shitty things that happened.
Mhm.
Like, one of them.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, it
was
did not
like
need, like,
Alanis
this-
Morissette song. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
No,
Let's
it's
see,
Jacqueline playing sadly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh god,
The
on
sad
the
song.
ASPCA commercials.
Oh,
It's that
God.
song. That's her whole life.
Yeah.
This is
God.
her whole life. Is that song
Yeah.
playing?
Just that behind it at all times.
Oh my God, yes.
I think like, oh
God, she was so tragic. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but the other thing is, like I said, I think the author was going for mild asshole protagonist, and definitely achieved asshole protagonist status. But like honestly, books love anti-hero detectives. Oh, those sell like hotcakes. So you know what? You could say it was not a great choice, but it's genre correct, if nothing else.
Yeah.
But yeah, the like, and then she stepped on a hamster and it brought bad luck, and then her dog died and it wasn't even her
she
dog.
broke like a million mirrors as a child. That's why her life is tragic.
Yeah. No, actually,
she
it was
walked
like
under a ladder and a black cat walked, and it's just.
no, her mom did that, so she was accruing the bad luck while in utero with her dead, have we mentioned dead twin brother.
Named Mike.
So, Mikey! That was cute.
Ugh.
I like calling him. I have a cousin Mike, and I called him Mikey when I was little. So, but you grow out of that eventually. But he didn't get to grow out of it because he died.
Womp womp.
All right. So basically, they set her up as a fucking basket case, and my argument is that like this book was definitely not great about mental illness. This was definitely not great about like kind of treating people who are kind of dealing with that with respect. Like, again, it does that common in like male protagonist, male author written detective novel where like they're cool and badass for not seeking counseling. That's not.
It's actually not cool or badass.
That's not cool.
Yeah, it's actually really terrible. Really bad plan.
Please, like, just go talk to somebody, guys. And then paranoid schizophrenia apparently makes you like starve children. That's really not the case.
And just like it just felt like, did you research this at all?
Nope.
I'm not like super up on all the different parts of like paranoid schizophrenia, but I was like, I don't know if that's how it works.
Schizophrenia is one of those weird diseases. Like, when I was working criminal law, I very rarely encountered defendants who had that kind of background. Victims, hell yeah. Victims,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But like, and that's the thing, and I also know I believe it's a very uncommon-ish type diagnosis currently.
Also,
So-
paranoid schizophrenia is very, like, it's my understanding.
And Amelia, I know
that's
you probably know
that's
more on this.
Oh yeah, you might. Like,
Work.
is that even a damn diagnosis that they do?
Paranoid
Period, though?
schizophrenia, all it means is that you have psychotic features. Like, there's the way you talk about it now is like you have schizophrenia, and then there's different ways that evidence is. Just like if you have depression, you can have different symptoms with depression, and only one of them is whatever chronic sadness, and there are many other symptoms of depression. It's the same in schizophrenia. There's various symptoms, and only one of them is. I mean, there's there's delusions, and then there's hallucinations and hallucinations that you actually see are extraordinarily rare. Much more common to have auditory hallucinations. This kind of stuff does happen, but you are way, like you said, Eris, more likely to be a victim of violence if you're mentally ill than a perpetrator of violence. And in this novel, we had multiple people with mental illness being perpetrators of violence.
Oh, yeah.
So,
obviously,
statistically, the novel's off.
Yeah. But it sure is juicy, and it makes the average, like, airport reader, like, oh, wow, isn't that scary? But, like, at the same time, the only thing, and then, I was on, like, if nothing else, much better with physical illness and disability, although she did fall into the trap of better doesn't necessarily mean great, but better because, I mean, we're starting from a situation of, like,
No, but she's such an inspiration.
That was what I was going to bring up.
You really like it.
That was the thing.
Inspiration for able-bodied people. That's just fucking
That was the thing.
fantastic.
That word was like, oh shit, could you not? Like, but at the same time, it did explain, like, she still can do stuff. And so basically, it didn't treat her like a lot of times, like, portrayals that I see, especially of kind of muscular disorders that don't necessarily affect the brain, is that there's nothing going on in the brain either. And at the very least, the book didn't conflate the two.
Yeah, I agree.
So, like I said, like, you're not supposed to get a cookie for not being a shithead, but I will kind of give it a cookie for, like a little, not a good one, like, not a Girl Scout cookie or anything, but, like, like one of the crap ones that you get on an airplane. I'll give it, like, an airplane ginger snap.
I will eat a cookie in front of her for it.
I liked it. What I liked was the way Kim interacted with her. Because
the interaction Kim had with her that I've read so far.
She didn't act uncomfortable, which must be, like, such a common thing that it would be nice to have somebody just treat you like a person, talk to you like a person. It was nice to see that happening in her life. More than just with her dad, with her friend later. Like, that was nice for me to see. You don't always see that. Usually it's just the inspiration and like, we're not going to treat you like a person at all or a human being. I thought it was better handled than I've seen in other books.
Yeah, and I will say they only did the inspiration thing one time.
No, they did it a lot of times.
Really? Where? Hold up.
Well, mostly it was the dad. They acted like the dad was so burdened.
The dad. Oh, no, treating the dad like, he was that's a separate thing, but as far as the character who actually had the thing, like, somebody only ever was like, oh, wow, that's amazing, but they were more like puffing up the dad most of the time.
No, I mean, I feel like everybody who interacted with her was like, wow, you have such a cheerful attitude, and you're so
I don't remember that.
Oh, God. And her dad asked, like, if you want to die, I'm going to kill you, but that doesn't give her any room to have a bad day and to get depressed and to be allowed to be depressed about the fact that she got dealt a shit hand.
Honestly, that's one of the things that comes up when you talk about, like, this is going to get fucking heavy, but in terms of, I do elder care kind of stuff and also, like, disability law sometimes. Not much of that, but that is one of the things that comes up. It's like, look, are we ever going to be able to come up with a decent idea on this? Like, what's the line between agency and, what's the line between, maybe allowing somebody to make, the wrong decision? So that's something that I'm not sure we're going to be able to really touch on in an online book club.
No, but I don't think it's
maybe she should have left that out of the book.
Yeah.
I don't think somebody dealing with that kind of level of disability needed to be a plot point, because that's basically all it was.
Yeah, and it was really not even an important plot point. It was just
I felt like it was a plot point to show, like, look at this guy, look at how good of a person he is, blah blah blah.
They already set him up to be the bad guy.
Right.
Yeah. In the end, I wanted her to have more involvement in the plot than just as a victim of violence, which is what she turned out to be, which is kind of a bummer. Like, I didn't want her to be the bad guy or anything, but I wanted her to have, like,
Yeah,
it was pretty
in the past. So there was, like, okay,
by the foster kids. Like,
who ended up dead. Oh no.
Her supposed to not feel bad that a bunch of teenagers got slaughtered. I don't know.
It was trying to ask that question. It just didn't ask it in a very clear way, because it's partly the limitations of, writing a book, and especially when you've got so much else that you're fucking doing.
I think it's the limitations of this author. She took on stuff she couldn't handle.
Honestly, I don't know if anybody would have been able to make that, like, less. Yes, these kids put somebody in a literal trash can, but their life was sad. I'm really not sure I know any author who would have been able to kind of come back from the 3-year-old with physical disability in a trash can plot point. Most other authors just written it.
Yeah, I do not think they handled mental illness at all well.
All right, so... All right, I was looking at the next question.
Yeah.
See, I haven't seen any twists yet. I don't understand this question or the red herrings.
There were no twists.
It was like the reveal at the end. Well, okay, Miss, like, crack detective. Some of us thought that the book wasn't, like, gonna try and do an M. Night Shyamalan.
It follows all of the tropes of this kind of book.
See, maybe of this book, I was thinking of it like a Law and Order episode, because it was so clearly following that sort of, like, police procedural idea.
It was clearly following the airport thriller mystery novel.
Yeah, so basically, like, you can solve the mystery when you know exactly which outline the book is following.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, I thought I fell for the whole, like, they tried to make it look like the father did it. Or like the father of Lucy, the girl with the thing. But then, oh no, it turned out to be, spoiler alert, it's the priest who gets introduced like 3 times beforehand.
It's so obvious it's him from the very beginning. It's so obvious it's him.
I don't even remember him being in the beginning of the book.
When you say that, though, in a way, what makes sense is when Teresa gets killed, the first one she says, it's somebody, like, nobody will believe this is who it was.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you say the priest, I'm not really surprised because of her getting killed and her thinking, like, oh my god, they're not going to believe who this is.
But you're wrong.
Well, but
the priest didn't kill Teresa.
Oh,
right.
The crazy dissociative ex-twin, who isn't the main character, killed Teresa. It was the three girls, the three bodies on the property. Spoiler alert, fourth. Were the priest, and the priest set it up to make it look like the father of the girl with muscular, what was it, MS? Or muscular
dystrophy? Not very well, though. It was like...
No, yeah.
Really
William is set
bad.
up to be the one who did it. He did not.
He was set up. It was the weird priest who had only been introduced like twice before the big reveal that he was
like
the big bad.
kinkiest of circumstances, like he's just hanging out in a drug den, like that's cool. Whatever. That's not suspicious at all.
Oh, because this is where priests go.
Yeah, priests love drug dens.
Yeah.
They're there trying to
Hey man,
save
it's Church
people.
of England. Anything goes.
And while I didn't necessarily see the what a twist twin thing coming, it was of no shock.
You know what? It was exactly bonkers enough that I got on board. I was like, oh, you're going there. All right, let me see you ride this one out.
So dumb. I was like, really?
Yeah.
Let me see you ride this one out. And you know what? If you're gonna reveal a dissociative disorder twin, I guess this was an okay way to do it. Like, yes. If you're
like,
gonna do that, sure.
Bitching at her neighbor. Like, in retrospect, it's pretty funny.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, in hindsight, it's really funny. Like, you know, just the idea of her just sitting in a room, like, God, why do you hate me? You know why I hate you. It's like, it's the Gollum scene. Who wants to help the detectives? No, he hates them.
Yeah. That's exactly what it was.
Like, in hindsight, I was like, yeah, let's ride this shit out.
Gollum.
I read that book, the book where Gollum is Nicola and Beth.
No,
That's the book I would read.
Let's check out Nicola and Beth and just, like, have the Gollum split scene every now and then.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
That makes it more interesting.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
As to the next question, why is Kim such a bad cop? Kim is a bad cop because good cops are boring.
She's been fired 600 times.
All detectives in books would have been fired. I actually got...
Come on. She didn't even have a disciplinary note in her file. I don't believe that for a second. Come on. Come on, Angela, whatever your name is, author.
You can't have an actually interesting, like, murder mystery novel with actual police procedures being followed, because police procedures are fucking boring.
Fucking accepted.
All right, so all right.
He's gonna find one now.
Treatment on my desk by the end of next year. Do it, and I will fucking critique your ability to follow
She's
those
gonna
procedures.
threaten you with that letter opener.
I'm sorry, I've been filing my nails because I can't find my actual letter, my actual nail file, so I'm like doing my best with the letter opener. It's really fun to have, you know, a prop. Okay, now, I will, like, review the fucking rules of evidence. You write me a genuinely interesting
I'm not going to write
procedural.
it. I'm going to find one that already
Oh, well, have fun with that. And then I will go through and be like, nope, that'll get thrown out. Okay. That'll get thrown out. Because all of this shit would get thrown out. I don't know English law. I don't know UK rules of evidence. But I have a feeling that they're not, you know, Martian. I have a feeling that they follow the same basics as
she broke into
ours.
the crime scene.
She absolutely
multiple times.
Absolutely.
They talk about her being, like, logical, kind of.
But she's totally not.
And then, like, the scientists say something, and she's like, fuck science!
Yeah. I want to go.
Right? She's like, fuck science. I don't give a fuck. I want to do this. I'm gonna go do this.
Because I want to be able to, you know, say that I have information that I can't possibly have without 3 weeks of downtime. We're on a schedule here. This is a book, so I gotta fast forward.
It's a book. Why can't you just go
about
3
books
weeks?
Is that you can go 6 weeks later. We don't have to sit.
You don't have to be a total asshole.
Yeah, it's a ticking clock of a murder mystery. Ticking clock.
Everyone with people who have been dead for a decade.
No, there were
total ticking clock.
There were more people being killed because of this. There were
but they're all terrible
people.
So
yeah, but they can't. They can't discriminate between the terrible and the good because they're cops.
Except they do.
Yeah, well, that's the real world. This is book cop. Like I said,
I'm saying, except the book cops do.
Oh yeah, book cops do all the time too. But this is like they're supposed to be doing it for the reasons of plot, as opposed to, you know, like I said, a perfectly procedurally correct murder mystery novel would be so fucking boring, or it would be spread out. Like it would have those huge gaps in time where it would really slow down the pace. Because Hot
this
Fuzz
didn't have that, and the pace was still slow. So
it was still slow because it was trying to jump back and forth between like six plots.
She did a lot of bad things, apparently for the sake of expediency and plot, and they worked anyway, so why not do it properly?
Because it would have been even longer. It would have been even longer.
I don't think so.
I think it would have.
So.
You would have to explain. And then, look, man, if you had like 3 weeks downtime for the dental DNA test, you would have had to hear a lot more about Dawson's fucking marriage. So be careful what you wish for.
I want to know what's happening with Dawson.
Oh my god. No, you don't. You actually don't, and that's what's annoying me. You actually don't.
I kind of know what I want to hear more about, so I'm going to go with you.
But it's going to be boring, is the thing.
This whole book was boring. There's nothing about this that was interesting. So if you add more boring, then at least maybe it would be better boring.
Oh. Anyway, so yeah. So talking about dry, so I think the general consensus is like, yeah, this is pretty dry.
The general consensus.
I agree. I feel like that answers my question that I put, which is the next one, so I'm going to delete that because I feel like we all agree it was dry.
Yeah, I was following a different outline than the rest of you guys, and I think it was pretty successful at following its own outline. But you guys were looking at a different one. You guys were looking at the kind of Mary Higgins Clark, that sort of Sue
I just want
to
enjoy it.
How?
Yeah.
I just wanted
the only outline I asked for.
I really just wanted it to be fun.
Like I don't like if a book's poorly written and I still enjoy it, like I'm cool with that, honestly. But I found no enjoyment beyond the next person we can discuss.
Yeah, Nina.
I love her.
That's the evil lawyer who is extremely, wealthy somehow defending criminal terrorist clients, because that's how you make the big bucks. And she's married to this guy who's like weird and creepy, and Richard Croft, who is a politician, so he's evil. And
she was red.
She was pretty cool.
That whole exchange. I was like, I like this part.
Yeah, it's like, honey. No, I've been pulling every string in this house. Fuck you. Just go hang out. Just don't get me in trouble. Shut up.
Yeah, look at everything that happens. She's just like, oh, why you gotta ruin everything?
God, you're such an idiot. God, I have to save your ass again. God.
So great. So great.
So, and then the next question, female characters are horrible. Discuss.
Everyone besides Nina,
Yeah, they're all introduced. It reminded me of in Scrubs, the TV show, where JD always has to see women in like super sexy slow-mo. That's how they're all described. They're all described in terms of their physical appearance and how pretty or attractive or conventionally female they are.
Yeah. So question, why do you think the author made the choice to do that?
Because she's bad. We didn't get any physical description of any dude at all.
Okay.
Except Daniel.
Well, yeah, because Daniel is love interest clearly in the next book.
Which is super fucking weird, because he's totally not the love interest Ceres is, but whatever.
Well, yeah, but clearly we're not going to get into... Like, why didn't she go out with the hot yoga lady? That's what I wanted.
I totally thought she was a lesbian for a little while.
Yeah, I did too. For a good chunk of the book, I did too.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, and then when I was doing my little bit of, checking the author's site to kind of get information, the author is a lesbian. So I was like, oh, okay, I might be in for this.
Well, maybe that's why she's objectifying women all the time.
Maybe, but that's not something you generally associate with, female authors who are writing about, female characters.
No, because women couldn't have internalized misogyny. That would never.
I know, but it's not generally something that comes out in books. It's not something that I generally see. And maybe that's just my limited reading. But so it genuinely did surprise me. I was like, maybe she's writing for like a male audience. But the male audience probably is like, about having any kind of female protagonist in this sort of like, strict procedural
I suspect
book.
this kind of genre is mostly women readers anyway.
Which is weird because... Sorry,
yeah, I think so too. I think it didn't hit me that all the women were described as super pretty because I thought she was a lesbian the whole time. So I just assumed that she was checking them out, like kind of reading her voice as the narrator, although I know it wasn't always. Like, I was kind of like, oh yeah, she thinks the archaeologist chick is hot, and she thinks that,
that's what I thought too.
She had her only relationship that's described is with a dude, so at the very least she would be bi. She wouldn't be lesbian.
Right.
Yeah, but I thought
we didn't find out about the dude until after the yoga lady, though.
No.
Yeah.
So I had assumed until then that she was like a lesbian, and then I was like, okay, she's
Like,
not.
she
Then
dated
maybe
a guy
she's
in the past.
bi, or, you know, whatever. Which would have been pretty cool, I think.
And
Maybe
you
that
know,
would
would've
have
been
made me like
interesting.
her more.
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know.
I just assumed she had the hots, especially for the archaeologist lady.
Yes, the archaeologist lady
has
is
the
who I
hots
thought.
for
I was
her.
like,
And that's why it was like that.
yeah.
And now that I'm thinking about the whole thing, I'm like, oh, that wasn't why. Oh, that's just gross.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really was confused by that. Like there were basically it was a lesbian double bluff. It was really weird. I was like, wait, what?
There's your twist. She's actually straight. That's the twist in the book.
There you go.
Boring.
Yeah, I was like, oh, thanks, M. Night. All right. I was like, well, she's got 2 other books to correct this. I mean, I'm probably not going to read them, but
She could still not be straight. It
Yeah,
could still happen.
if the archaeologist lady comes back again, like maybe you know what? Maybe there's a reason why that first dating the prosecutor guy didn't work.
Yeah.
No, it's his toothbrush. That's the problem.
Right?
That was so
mad.
ridiculous.
That was
Tropey.
weird. That was
It was
really
so
weird.
tropey and overdone, like, oh yeah, she's just like a dude. She doesn't like commitment.
Right? It's like they wrote this book with the protagonist as a dude and then just changed the gender.
Well, guys, because she's not like other girls.
Oh, I hate that. I hate that so hard. Yeah.
It's like I'm over people who are scared of commitment in books. Like that's done. It's done.
It is a very easy way to keep going because that's how you get the serial and that's how you get to change things up every book.
Yep, it sure is. Boring though.
Right.
Yeah, but
find a new trope.
Right?
Find a new reason.
This doesn't make
Right,
you
it
want
is
to read the
sexual
next book. Right? That doesn't end up getting a girlfriend in the epilogue.
Yeah, totally. That would be great. I would read that. I would read like Crime Bros.
Right?
Crime Bros.
I would read the hell out of Crime Bros.
Yeah,
I
totally.
already want to read Crime Bros.
Right?
I'm trying to figure out whether or not I've already
We
read
should
it.
write Crime Bros. Done.
We should totally write Crime Bros.
We should write
Crime Bros.
Crime
A
Bros.
Pancake Sex book club novel. I mean,
You can keep your toothbrush here, and it doesn't have to mean anything scary.
Yeah, that's okay.
you can have pictures of family and friends in your home.
All
and
the
it's not right.
Yeah.
Like, this awful YouTube video from like a long time ago. I'll have to go find it now and send it to you guys.
About
Crime
Crime Bros.
Bros. Awesome.
Not about crime,
Crime
but just
Bros.
about bros. And it just every time bros
Bro.
is all I think about. I'm gonna ruin you guys on it as well.
I will say the YouTube video that came to mind when I was reading a lot of stuff because the author definitely did take a lot of book space to try and describe the setting, and I'm a sucker for having settings described, and she really described the West Midlands as kind of shitty.
Yeah.
She did a really good job, so I definitely had the hastily made Cleveland tourism video song stuck in my head. If you guys haven't seen this, it's 50 seconds long and it's goddamn hilarious.
That's awesome.
So yeah, hastily made Cleveland tourism video.
Yeah, her settings weren't bad. I got a good
Yeah,
idea.
her setting
of the
descriptions were great.
Yeah.
I
At
learned
least
way more than I
her-
wanted to about the stupid car and motorcycle she was fucking.
Yeah, I was like, okay, enough with the brand names,
I
please.
was like, oh, cool, because I know motorcycle stuff.
Oh, okay.
But then I was like, okay, I'm really tired of her. Like, she's not like I get so tired of it.
Yeah.
And like, it's something
repeated
that like
brand
you
names
encounter
are-
some at least I used to encounter a lot. It's less now, which is amazing. But as a girl who plays video games or reads comics, I don't think you're like, fuck off, dude. I don't care that you're like ecstatic. I like video games. It's not that special.
Yeah, that.
Well, I think there's also just okay, enough with the repeated brand names.
Yeah,
With the repeated brand names, okay, I get it. It's a fucking, just call it a motorcycle. For the love of God, just call it a motorcycle. We already know what it is. God damn it.
Yeah, right. You're not like.
But we had to know she was restoring just a 19.
Also, where is she getting the money for that?
Right.
Where is she getting the money for that?
Well, she's not exactly spending it on developing pictures of her friends and family, so she can save it. And...
Well, her house is also barren. Remember,
Yeah,
she moved in like 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, she has no bed, so she can afford motorcycle parts.
Yeah.
Whatever.
She's Dr. Cox in the early seasons of Scrubs.
So basically, the overall impression here from multiple questions is treatment of women bad. Treatment of women bad across the board. So yeah, does our knowledge of like who the author is and what her background is, make that any at all surprising?
It makes
Would
it
you
worse.
expect her to have
It
been
makes
better?
it. I'm
It
kind
makes
of
it
more
more painful.
disappointed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
See,
you
I was
should know
like, this is
better,
just part of the
man.
genre. This is just part of the genre. This is just what happens. Yeah.
Yeah. No, she should
It's
know
fine to
better.
ask for better, but yeah. So,
It's not that hard to do better. Like,
No, it's not that hard to do better at all.
really
will say
not a
this
great
is-
effort to not do that.
This is apparently her third novel that she's ever written, and the previous two were just like kind of generic, interpersonal novels. So I'm kind of like morbidly curious about what those look like.
Don't do
I'm
it.
good.
You'll
Like I
regret
said,
it.
morbidly curious.
Don't do it. Don't do it. You'll regret it.
No, I only have so much time on this earth before I die. So yeah, no, I'm gonna pass that one up.
Did
But,
you guys
no,
catch like how they treated rape? Like that
it was
that
kind of
19-year-old. Well, no, that she was working that rape case, and the 19-year-old he didn't get convicted for raping her because she had a drink,
yes.
Mm-hmm.
and then that was like, oh well.
Okay.
No, she was
That set
furious
me
about
off when I
that.
was first reading it. I was like, really?
I mean, that happens.
I
Yes,
know.
but
It
it
does
didn't have to happen in this book.
I know.
But
it
I
was
got
something
mad
for
that
her
it's
to
in
get.
the book. Like, I know
Right,
what
it
happens
was-
in real life, but I want to think it does. I mean,
But you had
it doesn't, but...
but it was super early in the book, so she had to be like mad, and that's why she's distancing herself from people so she can work on her Kawasaki Ninja TM.
I
And
feel like that whole chapter could have been taken out, and the book would not have lost anything.
I agree.
I agree.
I
It was
agree.
divided
But-
up into a lot of chapters.
There are like
Yeah.
76 chapters.
Honestly,
I
I was
cannot believe how
I
many
was kind
chapters
of wondering
this
if this wasn't a NaNoWriMo project.
Yeah.
I was kind of
Oh.
wondering.
It
Yeah, it
feels
kinda
like
feels
a
like
nano.
that.
Had a
And then it
feeling.
never
it
got
does.
edited.
Yeah, like maybe it so
Oh.
feels like a nano in various
Because
ways.
it's like,
I
all right,
could
here's
see
my
that.
day's writing. There.
Yeah. Oh my god.
And this
really
is as
does.
someone who has written.
And those stupid twin chapters, you needed 2 twin chapters, if that, and they needed to be more integral to the rest of the story.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
did not need these like arbitrary stripper chapters.
Yeah.
No, she's not a
She's
stripper.
a
She does not take
dancer.
off her clothes.
That was-
She does not
I
take off
was
her
like-
clothes. Rude. She's an exotic dancer. And a
First of all, how
dangerous
dare
one.
you? Second of all,
That's gonna be the still on YouTube, you guys. This right
Yeah.
here.
I don't even have the. I don't even have the thing up, so I didn't see it. I was like, first of all,
Oh no. I'm sorry, stripper. Anyway,
an
Rude.
exotic
I
dancer.
think stripping's a great way to make money if that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
I'm all
But
for it.
she makes a point
Oh,
of
yeah.
saying in the book she is not a
Yeah.
stripper. She works
Which,
at one
in
of
my
those fancy
opinion,
joints.
is misogynistic.
Yeah.
That's misogynistic.
Exactly.
Like,
This one.
yeah, I don't think you're getting any argument from anybody here. Like, this was weirdly like twee about the distinction between like her job and something
Wouldn't want
else
to
she
be
could
like
be doing.
those girls.
Yeah, those other
Yeah,
girls.
right.
It's not like those other
Girls.
girls. It's not like
Plus,
those
like,
other girls.
The rape of was it Tracy?
Yeah.
Nani? One of those
Tracy.
girls
It was Tracy.
got
Like,
raped
I'm just-
twice by the father.
Yeah,
And like,
because
stuff
it was
like
from
okay,
his
it
perspective.
doesn't matter because she got raped as a kid. Her mom sold her, so it's fine.
And that was from the perspective of the psychopath. So there's always that little
Okay. Who
authorial.
ended up being the other? So it was the priest raping people,
The priest
Yeah.
killed the 3 girls that they found the bodies for.
and
Yeah,
then
because he
the
raped the girl and got her pregnant.
And then he's like,
comes to
sure,
credit.
I have to kill all of her friends now and frame the other groundskeeper
Okay.
for reasons.
And then the modern killer.
I'm making
was-
sure I'm following
was-
because I've not finished, and I was like, I
Yeah.
feel like I'm following, but I want to be sure real quick that I got
Dude,
this.
you're fine. You're fine.
The modern killer was Nicola/Beth because they're the same
Okay.
person.
Yes. Because dissociative disorder works like that.
Why not put every trope into the same?
Right?
Well, yeah.
Because they murdered Beth. That's the murder at the beginning of the book where it's
Yes.
5 people standing around.
But
It's
you
not
don't
getting killed.
find out about the Beth murder until
So-
like way at the end.
Yeah. Like the very
It's
end.
really weird.
Yeah.
It was like,
That's
And
really
then-
fucking weird.
and then like
Right.
then the detective's like, wait, there's something not quite right. Let me get my totally not girlfriend archaeologist out here. We're gonna look for one more body.
How does
And we're
nobody
gonna
notice
somehow fucking find it, even
that there
though
aren't
it's
two people if she's pretending to be, if she's having
Because
this...
she took her makeup off and then she didn't wash her hair and she looked like a totally different person.
She probably put on glasses like Superman and Clark Kent. You know
Right.
how that
Yeah, I mean, contouring does a lot.
goes.
She wasn't
They were
wearing
identical
vanilla
twins.
scented body
Contouring
butter
was really big back
anymore.
then, so she was contouring
fine.
that
Yeah.
character.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, it's just contouring. She's like Kim Kardashian with that shit. She's real
She's
good.
strobing. It's fine.
Yeah.
She's got like the lines, like sitting here vigorously blending out. God, that's a lot of work.
Yeah. All to make
Hey,
her
when
look
you
like...
have multiple personalities, you can put the work in, man.
Yeah, you got a lot of downtime. You got a lot of downtime as at least one person. So, but no,
Beth's
it's
just
really...
practicing makeup looks in her head while the other one's dancing on stage.
Yeah, like, all right. Is there any way I can give
What
myself the
about,
appearance
like,
of a
so
snaggle
she was like faking her knee issues and stuff
Yeah.
too?
No,
Like,
no,
okay.
she
because
was,
Beth had knee problems.
right. She wasn't faking it. She legitimately thought Beth was a separate person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which she
And then
used
she
to
had a
be.
complete
She did
breakdown.
have a twin, but her twin got murdered, and then she blocked that
Oh
out
my
of her brain.
God.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
this is so
It was
freaking
so
weird.
fucking bonkers. If you
Because
read
of a
nothing
cardigan.
else, I would say go read like the big Nicola Beth reveal chapter because it's fucking hilarious.
It's completely
I will.
separate.
I will finish the book.
So
Do it, and then
bad.
tell me how you feel about pink cardigans after.
I don't
That's
own
nothing
any,
wrong with
so we're
pink
probably
or
good.
cardigans.
I'll probably hate them, but
There's nothing wrong with pink or cardigans.
There's a lot wrong
like-
with pink.
I like pink.
I like pink. Three
Yeah.
against one, Nest.
Just a
No,
color, man.
Yes,
Just
because I get dressed in the morning by committee. This will have a huge impact on what I wear.
Just a color.
I like
Listen,
sweaters.
I already
I
have
really
somebody
like
up
sweaters.
trying to get me to wear pink. It's not happening.
What do you wear today?
I gotta
That's
get a
fine.
pink cardigan to wear on the next book club now.
Shit, I think I own a
Enjoy.
pink cardigan. I could go over and like reach over and get that shit
I
right
have
now.
a pink cover hoodie thing. Anyway, you guys, I gotta wrap this up. I have to go do obligatory things I don't want to do. So
Well, I think we covered this. I think we
think so.
beat this into the ground. So let's do final stars. We do final stars.
Like 1 star.
Okay.
0 stars. I gave it 1 on Goodreads because I have to give it something.
I would say 1.5.
See, I'm actually going to give it a 3 for what it was trying to do.
Okay.
Real quick, I'll just do our wrap up. Instead of spouting out Twitter names, look below. There's links. You can follow us all there. Let us know what you thought of this book if you read it.
I'm sorry.
Next
if you
month
did.
is
Yeah.
Until the End of the World by Sarah Fleming. It is currently free on Kindle, so go pick it up and read along with us. Thanks for hanging out with
All
this
right.
monstrosity of a
No
book club,
regrets.
since
No
we did
regrets.
not like it.
No regrets.
All
right,
thank
I'm gonna
you,
end
guys.
this. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.